At this moment, Theo is looking at his pictures on Hamstergram. Theo says, "So, people see the pictures uploaded here and come here wanting to take a picture with me?" Soha replies, "Yes, I'm sorry for not telling you in advance." Soha seems a bit worried, thinking to herself, could he be angry that I uploaded his pictures without telling him? Suddenly, Theo yells, "Of course, you should apologize to me. Why didn't you tell me that something like this existed sooner?" Soha is flustered. Theo continues, "What are you doing? Hurry up, take my picture and upload them." Theo starts posing like a professional model. "How about this pose? This pose is cute." While Theo is posing, Soha runs around Theo to take pictures. Soha yells, "Cuter! Even cuter! Look over here!" After finishing the photo shoot, Soha cheerfully says, "Theo, you're really cute." Theo replies, "You've understood the issue, haven't you?" Theo, the cat, strikes a seductive pose and says, "If anyone wants to meet this cute and cool wandering merchant cat, tell them to come to the 38th floor, Naya. Moreover, if there are many rewards, this Theo will dance for everyone to see." This is the moment the best merchant cat in history was born. After finishing the photo shoot with Soha, Theo walks and says, "That was really tough. Next time, the pictures will also be beautiful, and I will also come after carefully doing my makeup. I think I can hear the sound of the rewards increasing, just look at me. A business employee, I think I could even aim for the position of chairman." At this thought, Theo laughs charmingly. Suddenly, a gust of wind blows from behind, hitting Theo squarely in the face. Theo yells out. He had tried to smooth his fur, but now it's all messed up. Looking closely, Theo sees two wolves standing in front of him. Scared and trembling, Theo says, "Are those wolves?" A footstep comes from behind Theo. Theo turns around, and it turns out to be the leader Elka with a ferocious face. Frightened, Theo screams out loud as the leader's hand reaches out. Scared, Theo dodges to one side. The wolf bares its teeth and says, "Are you the wandering merchant who bought the straw hat from the blacksmith in the trading district?" Stammering in fear, Theo replies, "What are you saying?" The leader growls, "Answer me right now, you stupid cat. What did you do with the straw hat you bought at the forge? If you don't answer me properly, I'll eat you right away." Scared and crying, Theo, the wolf continues, "Answer now, the straw hat is." Before he could finish his sentence, a pine nut is thrown. The wolf looks at the pine nut and asks, "What is this?" As soon as he finishes speaking, smoke emanates from the pine nut. Elka yells out, "Ah, this is a stink bomb." Elka also yells out, "My nose. I think my nose is paralyzed." As everyone is trying to cover their noses, a dark figure rushes in, grabs Theo's hand, and pulls him away. Theo turns to look and it's Zerth. Zerth quickly signals Theo to keep quiet, and pulls Theo away from the pack of wolves. "Hurry up and follow me." The leader watches Theo run away and yells, "He's running away, what are you guys doing? Catch them quickly." When leader Elka sighs deeply and holds his head, he says, "Damn, the mission failed." On this side, after having escaped, Zerth and Theo also stop to catch their breath. Zerth says to Theo, "Now they're not chasing us anymore." Theo then says, "Thank you, Zerth." "I thought I was in big trouble," Zerth replies, "You saved me before. I'm just returning the favor." Theo walks up, pats Zerth on the shoulder, and says, "Anyway, thank you. I will definitely repay you at any cost. Do you like grilled tomatoes?" Zerth thinks her chance has come and says, "Then if you don't mind, can I go with you? I want you to teach me like before." Theo happily says, "Sure, let's go together." Zerth says to Theo, "Thank you, then let's go to the commercial district. I will take you there by the fastest route." Theo cheerfully replies, "Before that, I have to go to the Merchant Association and apply for a promotion to a middle-level merchant." Zerth then says, "I'm sorry. You're promoted to a middle-level merchant, but it's only been a few months since you became a wandering merchant, right?" Before she could finish speaking, Zerth covers her mouth because she misspoke. Theo then asks, "Zerth, how do you know that?" Zerth worries to herself, "I misspoke. I can't get caught as an agent of the Secret Inspection Office of Wandering Merchants." Theo suspiciously says, "This is suspicious, don't tell me that." Before Theo could finish, Zerth interrupts, "Haha about that, Theo suddenly yells out. Did that bastard scare him tell you? Zerth dumbfoundedly replies, yes, I didn't ask. But he just told me everything. Theo angrily scolds, that boneless bastard. At this point, Zerth also breathes a sigh of relief because she wasn't discovered. Zerth turns to Theo and continues, but how did you collect 1,000 Su towers in such a short period of time? That's an amount that a lowly wandering merchant like me can't even get. Can I ask about the special items you're selling? Zerth thinks to herself, that's true. Without special support, you can't collect such a large amount of money in such a short period of time. We never know who is behind him or what kind of dangerous goods he is selling. If that's the case, I'll catch him to save the honor of the inspection agency. As Zerth is thinking, Theo says, I sell cherry tomatoes. Zerth dumbfoundedly says, cherry tomatoes. Zerth confusedly asks again, are those red round things cherry tomatoes? Theo says, that's right, I've sold everything, so I don't have any left. I'll show you next time, now let's get going, we don't have much time left. Zerth confusedly thinks, he got 1,000 Su towers, just with cherry tomatoes. How can that be? This is really suspicious, very, very suspicious. In the outside world, in the United States, the chairman of the corporation says, this is a D- grade magic tomato. It can reduce 20 grams of fat, and its effectiveness is also doubled compared to the E grade. The taste is also stronger than the E grade. That's surprising. He turns to ask, Jenny, do you have any results from planting magic by tomatoes on Earth? At this moment, a by tomato is placed on the table, she says, you can see it. As expected, it has grown into the usual by tomatoes that we know, he continues. I think that, perhaps because they are items in the tower, what about the results of planting them in the tower? Jenny Lean replies, are you looking down on me? I am CEO Jenny of Easter. We have sown 100 E-grade by tomatoes on the first floor of the tower, and 10 fruits have successfully sprouted and are about to be harvested soon. He is very pleased and says, oh, really? Jenny, you've worked hard, she replies, all thanks to you, Chairman. This is the expected result with our Gago technology and secret. We will soon be able to increase the germination rate to 50%, the Chairman replies. I understand, everything will be easier, Jenny Lean continues. So, the budget for the tower farm project, before Jenny could finish her sentence, the chairman says. It has been transferred to the board of directors. We are hiring awakeners to create a farm and drive away the monsters around. The tower farm project, finally, my long-awaited business work which had been suspended, has now resumed. Thank you for the real tomatoes. In the cave at this moment, Sejuan is still harvesting tomatoes. And at this moment, Theo is receiving the badge of a middle-level wandering merchant. Congratulations to you. You have been promoted to a middle-level merchant. Theo laughed and said, ha, now I am a middle-level wandering merchant. At this time, Zerth also congratulated Theo. Thank you. With this momentum, let's go to the market to buy necessary items. Zerth was puzzled and didn't understand why Theo was going to the market. At the market, a market in the middle-level commercial area where wandering merchants can show their abilities as much as they like. Starting with the auction house, where you can get good items, from farmers or craft workshops on each floor at the best price, depending on how they can buy a large number of items and get the maximum profit at the lowest price. Their ability as a merchant is evaluated. Zerth followed Theo. This place is like a fierce battlefield that does not allow even a moment of hesitation. This place is at a different level with the old shop before, so what kind of technique will you use? Theo went to a place and pointed out that we will start buying from there. Zerth looked up at the sign in surprise. Isn't this a junk shop? After the two entered, Theo had chosen some items and paid. Theo said 2 cooking utensils, a saw and 2 sets of needles. How much is all this place? Zerth saw that and said, did you come here to buy wholesale, then sell it on another floor? Theo awkwardly turned around and said, didn't I tell you that I sell cherry tomatoes? Zerth held her head in confusion. What, cherry tomatoes? I wonder if I can finally see his skills clearly. At this time, the boss spoke up, all this place is 2.4 tower coins. Zerth heard that and thought blankly, what, these are cheap plus those items total probably less than 2 tower coins, this shop owner is cheating him. Zerth was imagining the opening scene on the field between Theo and the boss. The cunning boss laughed and said, haha, I am cheating you, give me your money. Theo rushed up and attacked and shouted, please give me a discount. Zerth thought he accepted it simply, it was a scam like before. But that can only be done because the stuff was of poor quality back then. This place is different. The boss forced a smile and said, oh dear, I have taken it out for wholesale for you. Then I will sell them at 2.2 tower coins. I will give you a discount because you are making a good impression on me. You know. Zerth looked at the boss and thought to herself, that's an old technique, giving a high step right from the start. A technique using psychology, that customers will buy something at a profit. With this technique, the boss launched an attack on Theo, but Theo quickly dodged. He would not stand it and buy it at a high price, right? This shop owner is not an easy person to deal with, but contrary to Zerth's thinking, Theo launched a fatal blow to the boss. The cat kept banging on the table and said, please give me a discount. The shop owner was flustered and said, sir, didn't I already tell you, I have already given you a discount. You can't buy them at such a good price anywhere else. Theo casually replied, is that so? Alright, Zerth, let's go. Zerth asked in confusion, why? Aren't you going to bargain further, Theo? Theo answered, didn't you hear him say he won't give me a discount? Let's go. The shop owner thought that looking at Theo's innocent face, he seemed like an easy target. The shop owner sighed and said, oh my, sir. How can you be so shameless? I give up. I will sell to you for 2 tower coins. Theo, seeing this, said, 1.8 tower coins, or I will leave. Zerth was also surprised to hear this. The shop owner helplessly said, all right. Please take them for 1.8 tower coins. Theo happily thanked the shop owner. Zerth stood aside looking at Theo and thought, a perfect discount without leaving any loopholes. Sell it if you want or not, the perfect defeat of a merchant. After trying to cheat him, this was an unfair battle from the start. A victory had been decided right from the start. I am someone who received special education from my family, but I wouldn't be able to lead the battle so quickly. I would end it with 2 tower coins. That means he received 1,000 tower coins for selling tomatoes. Am I not witnessing the historical moment of a genius merchant being born? Theo saw Zerth in a daze and said, Zerth, let's go. Theo was happily thinking. I was very excited when I heard Sejun ask me if I had discounted 3 times. And that was Theo who insisted on getting a discount 3 times. After finishing the shopping, Zerth bowed to Theo, I will take my leave first. Theo turned around and said, are you done? Let's have a meal before you leave, I will pay for you. Zerth laughed and said, no, I can't bother you anymore, I have learned a lot, thank you. Thank you very much for giving me a chance to look back at my arrogant bargaining. Theo immediately said, what? Did I do anything for you? Zerth laughed and said, even that modesty, be careful, because next time you might encounter a pack of wolves. After saying that, Zerth left. Theo stood looking at Zerth and said to himself, she really is a strange fox. I have to go back, I want to sleep on Seju's lap, Naya. Back at the headquarters, Zerth had just finished writing the report. The secretary stepped in and said, Miss Zerth, the director wants to meet about the goods that were deducted from landlord grid. Should I tell him that you are busy? Zerth handed a piece of paper to the secretary and replied, no need, I will meet the director soon. This is a report about a wandering merchant who is being monitored recently. Send the document to the passport manager of the merchant and also request him to remove him from the surveillance. The secretary looked at the report and said, isn't this the wandering merchant from before, the negotiation genius? Zerth said for the first time in a long time, I have met a real merchant. At this time in Sejun's cave, Sejun was covering the plants in his field with leaves. Mother Kwang is on patrol, so there won't be any thieves for now, right? Today we have planted corn and tomatoes. Finally, it feels like we have expanded our cave to the outside, doesn't it? At this moment, Sejun saw the rabbit watering can tapping on its can. Sejun went up and said, is the water not flowing out? The little rabbit cried out, Pippi. Isn't the water in that watering can supposed to be infinite? Suddenly, the black rabbit rushed over and cried out, Pippi, are the 2 rabbits trying to say something to Sejun? Pippi, Sejun looked at the black rabbit in confusion, is that a pond? Then Sejun and everyone gathered at the pond. Isn't this a prawn village, and there are so many of them? Did they flow into the hole where the piranha went in? What kind of ecosystem is in this pond? Sejun thought about the dish made from prawns and salivated. It received a lot of praise on YouTube and it's extremely delicious. Sejun turned to the Black Rabbit and said, "Black Rabbit, let's catch them." Sejun immediately pulled out his knife. They may look like that, but they are extremely delicious. However, the child will definitely like them more than anything. The Black Rabbit also took out its hammer at this time. Sejun continued, "We can't miss the opportunity to get new protein. Let's start hunting." Then the two of them plunged into the pond to catch the prawns. But the crayfish does not want to go down without fighting, so they all gang up on the Sejun in hopes of fighting back. But they do not have any hope of surviving the Sejun's crazy fast and precise knife swipes. With Keynes' training dagger, he immediately stabbed the head of the crustacean monster. "You have killed a crayfish. You have gained 30 experience points." Defeating a lot of crayfish nets the Sejun a lot of XP, and it is not like Sejun is alone in fighting the crayfish. His Black Rabbit also want to get a taste of delicious crayfish, so he is also giving it his all. The crayfish all get lined and defeated one after another. The other rabbit are also wasting no time in collecting the defeated crayfish. As soon as they land on the ground to get them prepared for the feast which they all are really looking forward towards. The Papa Rabbit is ready to chop one up right now in front of the mama and baby rabbits, who all seem to be quite wowed and surprised seeing this new kind of food. But while striking the crayfish in order to chop it up, the Papa Rabbit faces a serious issue of hardness. As his sickle does not seem to be a good enough tool right now to penetrate the hard shell of the crayfish. This is not something the Papa Rabbit was hoping to face in his bit of cooking for his wife and children, so now what can he do? Sejun fished the crayfish he had hunted out of the pond, and then he comes to the rabbit. Well, Sejun comes with a solution from his brain. He explains that as the shell of a crayfish is hard, it will be difficult to cut unless they are cooked. So he suggests that they should wrap them in green onion and grill them. Now, as the Sejun said, they all start following the process, and now hopefully they will not run into much more trouble before their tasty delicious feast. Sejun tightly wrapped it in green onion leaves and put it on the fire. Today's lunch is grilled crayfish. As time passed, a delicious aroma filled the cave. Even the rabbits and the baby bear got excited by the smell of the grilled crayfish. Sejun calmed the excited, "It smells delicious." The salty scent of the crustacean is emanating into the cave, and now it is getting really hard for these guys to control themselves as their mouths are already watering quite a lot. Now, after the crayfish has been grilling for quite some time, the Sejun checks to see if they are done or not. Sejun is really excited after seeing how red and well cooked the crayfish turn out to be after his nice grilling technique. This is a grilled crayfish which is wrapped in green onions and grilled along with corn and tomatoes. The salty taste of seawater soaked into the soft flesh is also adding to the richness of its flavor. And when he unwrapped the green onion leaves that had tightly wrapped around the crayfish's body, the crayfish, whose shell had turned red, greeted Sejun. Now the Sejun shows his rabbit pals how the crayfish is supposed to be eaten. As Sejun admired the well-cooked crayfish and folded its body in half, the juicy and white flesh was revealed. Hold and turn its head and the body so it can be opened easily. Look at its flesh. The salty scent is making me drool. The baby bear drooled with excitement at the sight of the crayfish flesh. Sejun quickly cut the flesh of the crayfish and shared it with the rabbit's pals. It would have been a satisfying meal if he had eaten it alone, but because there were many mouths to feed, each only got about one piece of flesh. And oh boy, enjoy they do, and judging by their expressions it seems like all the work they did to capture and cook it has finally paid off. After sharing a piece of crayfish with everyone, Sejun took the remaining piece of crayfish flesh, bit into it, and chewed. As soon as he chewed the flesh of the crayfish, a chewy texture filled his mouth, accompanied by a slight salty and sweet flavor. The more he chewed the flesh, the sweeter it became. It's so delicious. It's strangely salty, and the seasoning is just right even without any sauce. Tasty, right? Having tasted the true flavor of the crayfish, it was time to taste the combined flavors of the other parts. Then the mama rabbit decides to throw away the waste-looking part of the crayfish. But Sejun stops her from doing this as he does not want anyone to throw that away. He then shows the organs inside its head, in which he then proceeds to dip the flesh. And while doing this he says to all rabbit pals, "You see the organs inside its head, right? We dip the flesh into it. Throwing all this away would just be a waste, as it is an incredible delicacy. This is so savory that it makes the Sejun crave soju." At Sejun's reaction, The black rabbit dipped a finger into the crayfish's unpleasant-looking innards and tasted it. So without waiting much, Sejun quickly passes it towards the rabbit so that he can also try it for himself. Now just by looking at it, the rabbit does not feel very confident about it being anything as great as the Sejun is making it out to be, but I think he should first taste it and then judge it. So he proceeds to do just that, and now he can clearly agree with the Sejun's description as his mind is blown and heading towards heaven. Bewitched by the taste of the intestines, the black rabbit began dipping its carrot into the crayfish's intestines and eating it. Seeing that they all are enjoying it a lot, the Sejun decides to give them more so that they can eat a lot. After all, they always help Sejun in any task he has, so it is only natural for MC to also share the fruit of their labor when the time comes. The delicious scent of the grilled crayfish has also reached the nose of Baby Bear, it seems like, as he has also arrived here to join the feast. Sejun senses Queen's excitement and asks him to wait a moment as he will bring him some too. He does not want Queen to fall due to his overexcitement. Queen's eyes light up after seeing so many of the red-colored well-grilled crayfish, which he is now also going to get to enjoy the awesome taste of. And just like how the Sejun showed his rabbit pals, he also shows Queen how to twist the head and the body of the crayfish in order to properly enjoy absolute craziness of these tasty crayfish. But Queen is not so patient as to wait to eat them with such grace, he just directly puts it inside his mouth. Sejun asks if he found them to be tasty, to which Queen just shows his happiness, which I hope is the proof enough we need to know that he liked them. Sejun also tells him that the shell can be quite nutritious for him. Now the story takes us to the outskirts of the second floor of the tower. There is a skeleton village here which does not seem to be in a very happy or peaceful state right now. A massacre is taking place here from which the skeletons are trying their best to run away from, but all their efforts seem to be quite futile so far. Normally we get to see the skeletons being the monster attacking human settlements, but here the skeletons are doing the running. And also the skeletons are the ones who are being terrified of the horror they are seeing around themselves being caused by the humans. They are being shown no mercy even when they are not fighting back and just want to be left alone being innocent. I wonder if this human would have shown the similar kind of aggression if he would have been facing some real monster. So far things are looking rather grim for the skeletons as they are all being crushed one by one. The guy in business suit seems to be enjoying himself quite a lot while doing the crushing. This is just another example of someone's hell being another one's fun. The man in business suit is being welcomed as the vice chairman by the guy doing all the skeleton killing in the village. The business suit guy is liking how things here seems to be going well and securing the land for a large farm. They tell the suit guy how they have mobilized all mercenaries and have seized more than half of the skeleton villages on the second floor. Hearing that so far only half work is done, the suit guy does not seem to be very happy. Only half said, so he asks what the estimated time required is gonna be. Then warrior guy says, considering how vast the area is and the level of the new mercenaries, it seems like it will take a few more months. Then the man shows something which surprises the warrior guy. Warrior was a little surprised to see some people on the screen and asks in surprise, Vice Chairman, is this? The chairman man explains, we took over the debts of those who took out private loans and awakened them with a ticket and had them sign a lifetime contract with us. They don't need to get out of the tower, so this should be enough. I'll give you a week. Focus on securing the farmland. Then he heads towards some scientist chick who have been waiting for him. She shows him the growth of the cherry tomatoes which has just reached its peak. She then offers him to have a taste. The man is quite happy in his evil kind of way as this is finally the moment. He has been waiting for right in front of him in the form of this cherry tomato. He puts his hand forward to pluck one of the cherry tomatoes just like how the surgeon does this, but seeing the surgeon do this and this business guy do this is quite a different experience. As expected by the businessman, this cherry tomato is business for him. Then he proceeds to check out its taste. Ah yes, put it in your mouth and suffer its horrible taste for all eternity, you mean looking businessman, ha. Finally the moment we were waiting for has arrived, as this guy is now feeling the horribleness of those horrible cherry tomato which do not have the expertise which the Sejun grown ones have. Now I would have loved him to feel the bad taste for a bit more, but sadly he just spits all of it out. His scientist workers there are concerned about what is wrong. Maybe they should now be more concerned about their job security. He asks what is going on here, to which the lady asks what he means, as she is really confused by his reaction. He says that this cherry tomato does not taste like anything. The lady does not believe this and proceeds to taste herself, while the other lady who did taste it herself certainly did spit out rather quickly. The scientist lady is really confused now as they added all the highest quality nutritional supplements, but it does not have a taste at all. Another scientist lady looks at the report and says, right now all the components of these fruits are below the standard level and they are at the lowest grade of marketability. This just makes the business guy quite angry and he starts punching the cherry tomatoes with all his might. Just punching those poor cherry tomatoes is not enough for the guy, and he then proceeds to crush them under his foot also. But when he takes a look at the cherry tomato on which he just showered all his rage, he gets shocked, as there is no seed in it. Now it's time to come back to where the Sejuan does his awesome kind of farming which produces the best kinds of cherry tomatoes which also has seed in them. Meanwhile our Sejun, he is not doing any farm work, as after that amazing feast of grilled crayfish he and his pals are taking a nice afternoon nap. But maybe this is just not the best of time to take a nice nap, is right when he is taking a nap someone is back at his farm to take away his precious hard labor grown crop. The guy is having the time of his life right now with such amazing quality grass that he just cannot have enough of. The thief is enjoying his fresh grass, so now at one hand Sejun is sleeping and at the other a thief snuck into the field again. Okay, everyone, Manhwa Recap World Channel will be producing the next episodes of this series. We hope you'll enjoy them, so please hit the subscribe button to support the channel. Thank you all, and see you in the upcoming videos.